morning and welcome to 5-Minute Bible Study, where a 5-minute journey through Scriptures can change your life. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus for the last week and a half. We had spring break last week, and then the week before that was getting ready for spring break, preparing a lot of stuff. So we are back at it this week with our journey through the Gospel of Mark. Today we're going to start chapter 5, and we're going to look at verses 1 through 20. This is a familiar passage to some, and to others maybe not so familiar. But this is when Jesus restores a demon-possessed man. Hear this story. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes, and when Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons off his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. So you clearly have a man who's got some issues, that he's got this impure spirit, as Mark would say, and that he is cut off from his community. He's been not only cut off from his community, but he has been chained up. Can you imagine that? And what this does to a person's psyche and what that does to a person's will. So that's what's going on here. He's cut off from the community. He seems to be posing a danger to them. At least they were afraid of him. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him, and he shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High? In God's name, don't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of him, you impure spirit." And then what Jesus does is he asks him what his name is. He says, "What is your name?" And the demon answers back and says, and remember, this is the demon speaking. This is not the man speaking. This is the demon that has possessed the man. He says, "My name is Legion," which is many, for we are many. And he begged Jesus again and again not to send him out of the area. So a large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside, which is interesting, by the way. We are in a region here where there's not many Jews, if at all any Jews. So they've gone across the Sea of Galilee, probably into a really Roman town. And there are pig farmers there. You wouldn't have this in a Jewish town since pigs are unclean animals. But what we do have here is a pig farm, and probably raised by not Jews, but by Romans, or a Roman. And a large herd of pigs was feeding on a nearby hillside, and the demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." And he gave them permission, which is an interesting thing there. I think that Christ gives permission to the demons to do what the demons wanted. They would have rather been put into the pigs than to be tortured by Jesus. He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000, large number of pigs there, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. A friend of mine always asks about this. What about the pig farmer? This was his livelihood. Does Jesus compensate that pig farmer for the loss of his herd, for the loss of his livelihood? And the answer to that question is we just don't know. We don't know what happens at that point. But again, those little minute things are not part of the story. The issue here is something even greater than that. And so we continue on with our reading. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this to the town and countryside, and the people went to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. They were afraid of the man when he was naked and chained and out of his mind. Now they're afraid that he's fully clothed and in his right mind and healed of this possession. What an amazing thing that's going on there. Those who had seen it told the people, and what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. "We don't need you here, Jesus. We don't need you to do this to us." They're afraid. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him, but Jesus did not let him. He said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord had done for you, and how he has had mercy on you. So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus has done for him. How much Jesus had done for him. And all the people were amazed. The word Decapolis means in the 10 cities. So he's going probably to these a bunch of 10 little villages and towns, telling all that Jesus has done. The point of this story is redemption, right? It's redemption. As we understand redemption to mean to be reconciled or to be brought back in, particularly in a family dynamic. The meaning of the story here is that you had this man who was chained and naked and demon-possessed, but he was outside of his society. He was outside of his community. And Jesus comes and heals him, sets him free, and he's allowed to go back into his community. And you know, that's what Jesus does for you and me. That's what Jesus does for us all. The blood of Christ on the cross and the resurrection is a reconciling, it is a redemptive act. It brings us back into fellowship. It brings us back into community in the family of God with him, and so that we can have fellowship with each other and be part of a powerful community. That is especially needed today when people are dealing with all kinds of issues. Maybe not demon possession per se, but they're dealing with all kinds of afflictions and oppressions in their lives, and maybe even possessions, where the enemy, Satan, has taken control of their lives, and they are needing to be set free. It's your job and my job to present Christ to people so that they would be set free and to live a free life. I look forward to seeing you again on another Bible Study. Have a great day.